Brian, we're talking today a little bit about something that kind of a solar adjacent, if you will. We're talking about EV chargers, for your electrical vehicle. Do you find that a lot of people who are installing solar systems also are getting, EV cars and they want to be able to power their cars through their solar panels?
Absolutely. Yeah, we're seeing more and more folks either already have an EV or preparing for they know they're going to get one in 6 months, a year, or maybe even a few years out. And there's certainly more interest in EVs in general. And I think a lot of peripherals around solar and integrating, more kind of quote unquote smart home and communications and electrification into the home. We're seeing much more of that across the board. So, it's a natural thing for us to take on as, being starting out as an electrical outfit, 30 years ago, and then a solar company 12 years ago, and taking on batteries when they first came out. We were one of the first certified installers in the region for Tesla, and then it just made sense to, the EV charging solutions are a natural fit and attribute to what we're doing. And then for some of the, for Tesla, for instance, it's all built into the same app. And that's a lot of the guidance that we give our customers is that you should go with the EV charger that is as advanced as you take your solar system or your energy system. So if you're, just doing solar on a solar inverter, let's look at these charging solutions, right? And we do level 2 charging from just a plug. Folks, sometimes their car comes with a plug and they just want to use that and they don't want an app, and that's great. And like we'll give you a 50 amp plug. You plug your charger, your car in that way. And then other folks want the experience of having it integrated, which is makes it a lot more seamless. I think you get a lot of more information. It starts to interact with your solar, your home, the interaction with the grid. And then if you have a battery, even more so. And then, of course, if you get a smart panel, now there's other integrations and information that you get from integrating all those at the same time. So we do a lot of the Tesla chargers because either folks have Tesla vehicles and so they want that, or they have a Powerwall, or now the Powerwall 3 system, where your solar can be landed into the battery. And now they're going to be looking at that app. So let's use the same charging solution to keep you, you know, we all have enough apps, right? So we try to be mindful of that, and the Tesla app is really intuitive and a great experience. So it's a good place to land.
So when we talk about, the universal EV charger, does that mean that you can use this EV charger from Tesla to charge any type of electrical vehicle?
Yes, which is a new piece. So Tesla used to have their all vehicle charger, which is basically a protocol that's for all charging solutions that are not Tesla, called J1772. And that's basically every other vehicle aside from Tesla. And then they had another charger that was Tesla charger that was for the um, NAACS charger, which is the new standard, which is the Tesla charging protocol. And now a lot of other manufacturers are adopting that, and a lot of that's to do because of Tesla's supercharging network, and that that's it's so expansive. If you're on any major highway in the United States, you can find a Tesla supercharger. And what they've done with the universal charger is put them both into one, which is obviously really bright, right? So you basically have the same exact looking charger. They call it the wall connector. So the wall connector is Tesla's EV charging solution. All three of them look identical. Um, and these can also be a commercial charging application as well. And there's a different protocol for that, but they basically have they call the magic dock, and that is if you just pull the charging connector out, it's the Tesla charging connector, or the NACS. And if you hold a button and pull it out, now it's the J1772 or every other non-vehicle vehicle for that you can charge with. So it charges every vehicle on the market with the same charger. Instead of essentially having a separate adapter, it has the adapter built in. And so as if you go charge with a Tesla vehicle At a Tesla charging station, you plug in. If you have a different charger, you need an adapter, and vice versa. So now it's all in one. Very easy.
How does the charging speed on the Tesla Universal Charger compare to, maybe other Tesla chargers or even other brands of EV chargers?
Yeah, good question. The typically the speed break is boiled down to the size of the breaker that it's landed on, and there's in for most level 2 you can go up to 60 amps of breaker, which gives you 48 amps of charging. So that's usually the peak that you can get. There are some other brands and companies, and it depends on the application, where you can't go that high. So sometimes you can't go that high because of the customer's electrical service, or it could be the equipment that it's attached to. We have some other level 2 chargers that attach directly to an inverter or directly into a smart panel, and there may be limitations to those at times. So Tesla doesn't have those limitations, so to speak. So you can go up to 48 amps of charging, which is the highest level of level 2 charging you can typically get. Um, they did for a time have a special higher amperage charger that they would let you use a higher breaker. And I think it was primarily for the Model S. And there might be something still floating around like that. Maybe even for the Cybertruck, they have a dual charging, what's called Power Share, where you can do vehicle to home charging. And that's right now only available on the Cybertruck, but that's coming soon to all the other vehicles, and the universal charger will be compatible with that as well.
Talk a little bit more about the app and your like sort of flexibility with that. Are you able to program it to say, oh, okay, overnight I want it to draw the power from my Tesla Powerwall and charge my car with from the Powerwall specifically, or something like that?
Yeah, absolutely. And you can set all kinds of timing, right? So you can schedule when you want to charge. Um, ideally, if you're making a lot of solar, let's charge then, but not everyone's home and charging at that time. So you charge at night. And then here in most of Massachusetts, we in New England, we don't have what's called time of use rate schedules with the utility. But California is a big one that does have it. Hawaii, there's other, and even there's some utilities inside of Massachusetts, some of the municipal light plants that do have that. So you could charge and schedule to charge when your rates are the lowest. Right? And there's actually an incentive program through Eversource and National Grid that incentivize you on non-charging and non-peak times. So there's a rebate available for folks that will participate. And then there's also there's like a one-time fee, and then there's an annual fee that they'll pay you if you're willing to participate in charging in off peak hours, because obviously that lessens the demand on the grid. We all are looking forward to electrifying, and more EVs, and a cleaner energy future. But our grid, the way it's currently constituted, can't withstand that overnight. So not everyone could plug in an EV tomorrow, and that it wouldn't work out for us. So the utility is also responding with incentives and ways to help support that electrification movement, and make it smarter and less, and continue to keep the grid more resilient. Obviously, batteries help with that. EV charging at the right times help with that as well.
What are the installation requirements for the Tesla Universal Charger? Are there any special things that a homeowner needs to consider?
Not necessarily. It's really, where do you want it, and then where do you want it in relationship to where your main service panel is. So the breaker's going to need to land in your main service panel, or it can land in a sub panel, and then this kind of depends on solar energy storage and other factors, depending on what you're doing, on what recommendations we would make. But it just, in a general sense, you want to land it in the main service panel. And if your main service panel is on one end of the house and your garage and your driveway is on the other end, obviously we need a path to run the wire. And if it's an unfinished basement, usually no problem at all. If it's finished, well, is there a drop ceiling? What other considerations do we need to look at to get there? But typically speaking, people want it either in their garage or just outside of the garage. And then you want to think about which side is your charging port on? Is it front or back of vehicle? And which side is it on? And how do you normally like to park? And let's just align the charging solution to how you're already living and operating with your EV. And normally it comes with a 20-foot cord. So provided you get it, in a reasonable spot, there's plenty of cord length to get to the charging port.